So what a massive short squeeze we have here. Let's take a look and do our daily SPY analysis and get the critical levels to watch ahead of the FOMC. Thank you all for joining me here for another episode of Carnivore Trades. It is Tuesday, January 28, 2025. Don't forget to like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Also, come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Let's get into it today. So markets today with a beautiful short squeeze off of the lows, and we talked about this yesterday, and even kind of like the comments last night, not just on my video, but even like on just going on Finex Twitter. It was like the Super Bowl for bears here. So not surprising to see a squeeze. And really all we did yesterday was test support very nicely. 59.50 got hit, and a beautiful continued reaction here to the upside. Now we are into some major resistance right now. And so definitely an area to trim longs, which is something we've been doing here. It's an area to maybe take a hedge here. I don't think you necessarily need to short. I said that previously last week. It did work out if you did take that. We did take a vol hedge for us last week, and that worked out very well into Monday. As well as the Apple trade, which is now finally closed out. Went all the way to 240. So I was looking for 230, 235, and we got all the way to 240 again. Never short Apple and never bet against Apple for too long. This is generally what happens. It's up 7% for the week here. Is Apple Computer. Take a look at Meta also, by the way. New all-time highs. We mentioned this yesterday. Is it really risk off if Meta is at new highs? And it's supposedly an AI related problem. I don't really think so. Microsoft roaring back here, erasing all of the losses. And we have NVIDIA here, not erasing all the losses, but very good bouncing on the weekly. Not a terrible looking candle hitting the trend line. The weekly 50 MA, Broadcom, weekly 20 MA, tail candle. So far, again, we have FOMC tomorrow. There's nothing set in stone. We could sell tomorrow. But again, this market, sentiment shifts very quickly, we'll say. And that's why you just got to trade the levels. I get people telling me all the time, Aaron, what happens when the market crashes tomorrow? Well, then I'll trade the crash, okay? So, that's why you don't want to be, falling in love with biases. That's why I like to trade and not be a perma anything. And, I've been here, it's the same case every year, every year, every day. Every time we have a red day, it's, oh, that's it. It's all over, crash, this, that, and the other thing. And we just keep going higher. So until that changes, just keep trading the tape. And when it changes, just trade that tape. So I know people have literally been short since 4,600, okay? So that's why I keep just follow the trend here. But in any case, let's get into the levels. We are into a critical one right now. I did call out 605 this morning in the short video. If you don't check those out, you're literally missing out free alpha. 605, we talked about that as being a target for today. We got up there. So that was easy money. Put our feet up pretty much all day after the first hour. And good short squeeze. 6075 SPX, which has just been tagged right now. There's a pretty good put wall there that was there pretty much all morning, so it was actually kind of supportive, believe it or not, even though we were below it. And that's why we just had a nose for that. But this is a major level. After that, we are into the gap, and I'm just going to show you right here. If we look at a 4 hour, we're kind of coming into that trend line there. So that previous all-time high trend line, it got tested, we gapped through it. And now we're testing it again, which is the gap window here, 6105 area. Through that, if we fill this gap here and then we can build structure off of it, we will go make new highs. So just prepare yourself for that. I know nobody thinks it can happen, and that's usually why it does. Last Friday, nobody thought we could go down, so that's probably why we went down on Monday. And we did tell you that vol hedges was probably a good idea. I still have a little one for tomorrow. Now, with yesterday's price action, there's probably going to be a lot more hedges. So my kind of guess is if we go down, and Jerome Powell is hawkish, he's going to have to be a mega hawk for us to stay down. And we're going to have a big miss, and I mean a big miss in tech earnings if we're going to stay down. Why? Because that scare yesterday there's already a lot of event volatility set up for the Fed and for earnings. Now there's a ton, right? And there's going to be even more, and there's definitely going to be hedges going on into tomorrow. So right now, I'd say that, those are the levels I'm watching on ES. On the downside, well, we've got plenty of room here. And right now, you could make a case if I clean up my lines here. I know I got a lot of them. I have a lot of, that's not even my day trading lines. I have a lot more of those. You can see right there. But in any case, this just looks like a liquidity grab, right? ES never made new highs, right? SPX did. So for ES to make new highs, what does it got to do? Grab some liquidity, test the weekly 20 MA. A lot of kicking and screaming for a weekly 20 MA test on ES and NQ. By the way, banks right now, just so you know, are long Russell and the Dow net. And it makes sense for the Dow here because if we have cheapening AI products, and again, my thought is that Meta will just figure it out, and Google and Microsoft will just figure it out and steal whatever data that's probably already being stolen from OpenAI to begin with, and they'll just patent it and make a better version. But nonetheless, cheapening AI does help the old economy stocks and the Russell 2000. So that's kind of why we're seeing that. And by the way, I told you last week that there was a level of activity in the VIX. These guys knew about it, right? By the way, another thing, even like Chamath was tweeting about DeepSeek a week and a half ago, and nobody cared. But now all of a sudden it matters, So these are coordinated attacks. It is almost every time. And almost every time we see the same response. That's it. The market's crashing. And, eventually we'll have a correction. But these things, that's just kind of how they work out. And I figured that the way it'll end is, it's kind of late now because we already kind of put in this low. But my guess was that, well, it'll end on some headline in the overnight about how DeepSeek isn't as reliable or whatever like that. It'll happen at 1 a.m, and then we'll go have a 90-point move. And the video will gap up. That's just how they do things. You gotta understand the game here, and it's how it's played. So anyway, lot of due to say that. Tomorrow, as far as swing trades, I'm kind of flattish for the most part. Not really feeling going into that. I think trend traders are going to get chopped really hard in Q1. I think this is going to be more of a day traders market and short-term swing-oriented market. Doesn't mean there won't be quality swings. In fact, we'll talk about one in a minute. But I think that it's just the risk reward is just not very good here on either side. So I think vol is a good hedge still, but outside of that, I'm not really looking to short. Triple Qs here again, 525 is a big level through that 530 to 35. Those levels have not changed. IWM, again, we mentioned this yesterday. All this was a little test candle, back up 0.5%. It's not trending, but it was also not down as much as the rest of the market was yesterday. And hey, it's back at the highs of the day here as we get into 3:30 time frame. Nice retest of 225 again. And if this gets going, it can go back up to 235. We got the Dow here. Don't fade it at 450. I think 452 is a little bit better. I wouldn't fade it anyway, but just to give you guys that idea. Anyway, SMH here up 2% as we know. I did have a nice bounce back. It's finally hit my 240 target intraday. We were looking for that this morning, and it finally got there, and it's just kind of bouncing back. Again, it's all about, some of these stocks, retail just keeps trying to find the low in AMD, and it just keeps going down. Some of these are just kind of weaker here. ASML getting a bounce. Not a great chart, but you still have strength in NVIDIA. Believe it or not, I know people are saying it's damaged, but got a nice uptrend here. The 200's holding. Nothing wrong with a retest of the 200. And Broadcom weekly 50, daily 50 MA, weekly 20 MA is holding. So we'll have some strength in semis. One sector I do think is very interesting right now, and it's a sector that's was one of my famous calls from last year, is IGV. And I think for fundamental reasons, good bid here today. I don't think it's a coincidence. Look at the weekly 20 MA, pull back, nice, that's bull market behavior, right? 100 MA holding, that's bull market behavior. And regardless of how efficient DeepSeek is, I can't help, I have to love calling it deep fake. But regardless of how efficient it is and how overblown or underblown it is, I think the fact definitely remains that cybersecurity is a must here, and it's a premium. And we are in an arms race, and we're in a tech race. The president's really admitting that. And China thinks that too. I think cybersecurity is a very interesting place to be, and I think we're seeing some of that right now. Take a look at some of these stocks here. CrowdStrike, new highs. Net new highs. ServiceNow, new highs, right? Oracle's been in and out of the news lately. That had a big dump yesterday, but a nice rebound today. I like this chart on Adobe. I think this is really cheap down here, and this is not a bad pattern. I think that wants 480 sometime in the near future. That 400 handle held nicely. Also seeing some dark pool activity down at these lows. I think that institutions are accumulating. I think cybersecurity, hack, IGV. I think these are interesting places to be right now. Because regardless of whether or not China is going to win or U.S. is going to win, cybersecurity is a must here. So I think IGV is interesting. Yet again, I don't have a position right now, but I don't see any problems with the charts, and I think the fundamental case makes a lot of sense. Anyway, Dow Transports here down today, but they were up very nicely yesterday. So no harm, no foul. Let's take a look at interest rates. And again, there's Bitcoin still hanging in there. And again, this is why another reason why I'm not too bearish. But crypto holding up. Rates here flat to positive. Nothing going on, just kind of pausing ahead of the Fed. So not much to go off of there. I will say, though, that TLT, I'm just going to use TLT here. Dips are kind of being bought, right? Looking at the intraday, even when it's weak, it ends up making new highs. It sells, it makes new highs, sells, comes back up, sells, comes back up. Little sell, come back up, sell. Now it's coming back to the highs of the day. So TLT, the regime's changed here right now, and I'm still looking for 90 bucks on this thing. So I still think rates can come down a little bit in the near term. And then the narrative will start to change. And then we'll go back and we'll do this all over again. But until then, I think rates are holding up. XHB giving some back yesterday. But again, we talked about this. It needs to digest that big move. It needs the 20 MA to catch up. BNQ inside day. Nothing changed on that front. XLF, again, just off of all-time highs. Here's the trifecta. JPM, Goldman, Morgan Stanley. They're at all-time highs. That's not bearish. ARE, get down 14 cents. That is still basing. That's still basing. No problems there. Broker dealers right back up. Up 1.5%. Oil finally getting a bounce here, but no new high. We gotta take out the high of the previous candle here. Otherwise, we're just walking down. This is a good level, though. I like the wide range candle coming off the lows yesterday. But yeah, it needs to really clear that 75.15 area to get going here. We'll see if it gets a bounce. I think it can. I'm not playing it right now, though. XLE is the same thing. So just straight down, but you went straight up. So we'll see where this carves out a pivot. There is a little bit of support there with the 20 DMA. You got the 50% just below that. And then 87, 70, 87 and change would be your 618 there. So those are dip levels on those. XOP, again, same chart for the most part, and is OIH, although OIH is the weakest. Uranium, obviously CCJ taking a hit yesterday on that news as well, up 2% here. Again, I think a lot of that with these uranium plays is a little overdone. It's a hot sector though, so, and it's, you have some of these high flyer names like Oklo, SMR, a lot of money going in, a lot of chase money. So I think that's why you can see them come out so quickly, but CCJ is still holding 48, and I think it needs to do that. Otherwise, we're going to 44, as you guys know. URNM and NJ a little bit weaker, but NJ does have technically still has the potential for a higher low. So juniors are hanging in there a little bit better. Nat Gas finally taking a hit here, and I believe there was some news this morning. I think it was Trump, but it's something, I don't know. Either way, it's down here. We talked about 310. That's essentially where it's at right now. On the H, maybe to 320. Or sorry, yeah, maybe $3 even. Could be a little bounce level there. Dollar index getting a bounce. Speaking of, up 0.5%. You got to reclaim 108. Has not done that though. It is backing off the highs. So this will move tomorrow with Powell. Gold, again, nice rebound. Erasing yesterday's sell. Putting in a base beneath all-time highs. Nothing wrong with that. Silver, same thing. Again, it spiked below the inside bar and it got a bounce. I'd like to see it close above 31. I don't know if it's going to do that right here, but that would be positive. Platinum also inside day with another tail, and palladium with a kind of a low energy day. Copper low energy day as well. Possible W pattern here though, with maybe a V coming. And Bitcoin, no updates here. We did kind of just test support yesterday. It held, and mostly just inside day here today. This is building a base beneath all-time highs. If this breaks out, I mean, it's got legs. I've said though, another week would do it good, and I think it's pretty much there now. Pretty much there. So coins looking fine, and again, I just don't see this whole liquidity situation changing while crypto remains strong. So Spider's holding up into the close for the most part here. It's 330 again. I don't like risk reward on either side here. I think the best thing to do is trail longs if you have them. Maybe pick up a vol hedge, but that's about it. Short term, if you're not maneuverable, if you can't maneuver on an intraday basis, don't be trading the FOMC or earnings here. We'll see what we get here. Apple did get to my 240 target. I'd love another dip to buy in that, so hopefully they can give us one. Meta, just so you guys know, I'm seeing a lot of interest at 700. It's probably going to go there. That's just my general lean, not financial advice, but it's probably going there. And we'll see what we get on the other names. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Again, you guys take care. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.